The plan to drastically reduce the population of the world has been the ambition of certain groups and individuals in our world. Copious investigations into their operations provide convincing evidences that there exists a strategic depopulation by design.
There is a definite satanic plan for depopulation of the world. Not because they seek answers to some overpopulation problems. No. It's about a selfish agenda.
For many years, there has been a strategically managed operation to lead billions of good and trusting people to injury, sickness, and, in far too many cases, death.
In 2014, Deagle.com published predictions of massive population declines happening abruptly before the year 2025, mostly in Western countries. For over 5 years, the mysterious depopulation predictions on Deagle.com were regularly updated, but after the 2020 lockdowns, this page was removed from the website, but can still be found archived on the Wayback Machine. Declassified FOIA documents from the 1970s reveal Deagle's direct communication with Stansfield Turner, the director of the CIA at the time. In 1976, Dr. Edwin Deagle moved to New York to become deputy director of the International Relations Program at the Rockefeller Foundation. The Rockefeller Foundation was created on May 14, 1913, just a few months after the Rockefeller family helped set up the Federal Reserve banking system, which gave them unlimited funds while enslaving future generations with debt. The Rockefeller Foundation funded eugenics programs that decided who should live and who should die. They outlawed natural medicine and fuel, including one of America's #1 cash crops, hemp, and replaced it all with chemical compounds derived from their oil company's toxic waste. The Rockefeller Foundation created the United Nations and have their tentacles in NGOs throughout the Western world. Officially, we are told that Dr. Edwin A. Deagle Jr., a deputy director of the Rockefeller Foundation and an associate of the CIA, retired in 2005. The depopulation forecast was published in 2014. The Deagle.com forecast predicted that by the year 2025, the UK would see its population decline by 77%. Ireland would see its decline by 72%. The United States by 68%. And Germany by 65%. While other countries, like Russia, are predicted to experience practically zero decline.
To further corroborate that there is indeed depopulation by design, there are 3 focal points, which have weaponized in the human society over a long period of time. These are vaccination campaigns, climate change activism, and genetically modified foods. So let's begin with vaccinations.
The vaccination program, as I've said several times, is not about health. It's about population reduction. And that's what several scientists have found out, and that's why they call the vaccine program genocide. That's why they call it a bio-warfare against human populations. Because they understand exactly what it is.
Do you agree, is there a line in the sand, these shots are poisonous, they're bioweapons, and there shouldn't be a doctor on the face of the planet, on the soil here in the United States or anywhere on the planet, saying you should get this, no matter what age group you're in, no matter what underlying conditions, no matter if you're immunocompromised or not? No, hard pass, don't take these shots, they could kill you.
I completely agree, and I felt this way from the very beginning, but even more so now that there's so much overwhelming data on harms from these shots and lack of efficacy. The vaccines were unethical, they were experimental, no one really got informed consent, and we never should have agreed to them. Absolutely 100% bad.
Are they vaccines?
They are not vaccines. They're gene therapies. I'm using that as a term of convenience, but you're correct. They're gene therapies, and they're not even real therapies.
Yeah, are they even gene therapies? Exactly. No, they're bioweapons. I mean, these things, I'm convinced, were ordered up by a group of people that needed a product that was going to introduce super cancers and antibody-dependent enhancement and myocarditis and infertility and sterility and heart attacks and strokes and clots, and they got the product that they ordered. I mean, how can we at this point logically come to any other conclusion?
You're right. I mean, I like the acronym POSIWID, P-O-S-I-W-I-D. The purpose of something is what it does. Well, we know what these shots don't do. They don't block infection. They don't prevent transmission. They don't decrease hospitalization. They don't decrease mortality. They've never been shown to by any randomized trial. What do? Well, they injure and kill people. Number one, they generate a huge amount of money for industry, and that is shocking, and that money somehow we have to get back, is my view. And they are simply reducing the population.
At the very least, the things people have been injected with, the injuries to people from these so-called vaccines, I'm afraid, I wish I could tell you that it was accidental, but it wasn't accidental. I've spent 32 years in rational drug design. I know, and I knew, and wrote it, before any of them had emergency use authorization, that they were dangerous. And I'm afraid I'm convinced and would say, with my hand on the Bible in front of a court, a judge, that these injections have been made to injure people, to maim and kill, deliberately.
I am not going to be vaccinated.
I join you in that.
I'm going to be one of the survivors. I'm going to survive the genocide. I am not going to allow the COVID maniacs to convince me to be vaccinated or vaccinate me against my will. I know what I'm reading. I know what I'm seeing. There is a mass death campaign underway right now, and I don't care what people, they can write any article they want to write about me. They can do everything they can to deplatform me. I'm going to survive a global genocide.
Next focal point in the depopulation framework is the incessant climate change activism, which many of its propagators claim is primarily caused by the burgeoning population of the Earth.
So this hoax of climate change is just what I just said. It's a hoax. That's all. It's a deception. So why do they do it? Of course, two major reasons. Number one is economic reasons. Because they can see their future. Economic reasons. Number two is eugenics, a depopulation agenda. So they keep blaming human beings for being the problem. They say that we're emitting so much carbon dioxide. There's nothing scientific in what they told you about climate change. It's a hoax. This was designed years ago as a sure measure for taking over the nations of the world.
In 2018, The Limits to Growth co-author Dennis Meadows explained how we need to murder billions of people.
The planet can support something like 1 billion people. maybe 2 billion, depending on how much liberty and how much material consumption you want to have. If you want more liberty and more consumption, you have to have fewer people. And conversely, you can have more people. I mean, we could even have 8 or 9 billion probably if we have a very strong dictatorship, which is smart. Unfortunately, you never have smart dictatorships. They're always stupid. But if you had a smart dictatorship and a low standard of living, you can have it. But we want to have freedom and we want to have a high sentence, so we're going to have 1 billion people. And we're now at 7, so we have to get back down.
Overpopulation is a lie. With old school sustainable farming and the end of big government, there is enough room on this planet for several billion.
We put 50 million tons of sulfuric acid in the air now as pollution, and it kills 1 million people a year worldwide. We're talking about 1% of that.
1% more, we're just killing 10,000 more people.
You can do math.
The last, but not the least in the framework of depopulation by design, is the recent open proliferation of genetically modified foods in different nations of the world.
Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived. No? And people grown up with all kinds of ailments, all kinds of problems. They afflicted the men with stroke and infertility, and afflicted the women with infertility and fibroids. And many of those things developed into cancer. Helped by the terrible GMO foods. You have to know, this is the strategy. This is the strategy of the 21st century. This is the strategy. They've been at it for long. But now, it's becoming full blast. It's a strategy.
The very idea of GMOs is a death knell for biodiversity. Biodiversity means the integrity of life. GMOs mean appropriating life to own it and patent it.
GMO is a project of the Rockefellers. Eugenics is a lifelong obsession of the Rockefellers and friends. And that GMO is about population reduction. Along comes the momentous year 2001, momentous for many reasons, but momentous in the field of GMO because a biotech company in San Diego, California, named Episeed, held a press conference, and the president of Episeed, Douglas Hine, or Mitch Hine, I believe, announced to the press, mostly industry press, ladies and gentlemen, we have made a major milestone in solving the problem of world overpopulation. He's pointed behind him and said, behind me is a greenhouse filled with spermicidal corn. Now, what did he mean? Spermicidal corn. Spermicidal, I mean it kills sperms. But whose sperms or what sperms? Human sperms. A man cannot conceive if he consumes this corn. His sperm will become infertile.
So the framework for depopulation by design has been an age-long plan developed to deliver into hands of selected few the ultimate of control of the world, but they imagined a vain thing.
So it's all about eugenics and a decision to control the world and make it the world of their dreams, because they intended to do a whole lot more. So it's the uncompleted pyramid that you see in the American dollar. The job is not finished. They want to finish it. But I have said, we will not live in their world, they will live in our world. It's as simple as that. They will live in our world. And until the rapture of the church, We control everything. After they failed in 2020, they began to plan their ricochet. But that will not work. It will not work. It will not work. Because we are still praying. I like the term, we are still praying. We are still praying. We're not done praying. We're still praying. We're still in charge. Hallelujah.
But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 7.